Hello students, today we are going to talk about advertising and product placement. So we have talked about 4 different promotional efforts in the previous class, and in this class we will talk about in more details. First, informative promotion. I have a couple of examples up there telling you sale and telling you how new technology works. Informative promotion is often used only in the product cycle of the category because people don't know exactly what it is or how it works. So it can help you build the company's images. I introduced examples in the following slides, so please take a look at the advertisement. A reminder promotion. Generally, when we want to remind people an occasion, or we just want a reminder that they might need or want this particular product. So I've got Reese's piece up there. Reese's is a globally #1 candy brand in the world. It used to be Snickers, but Reese's surpassed them. They have done a pretty aggressive advertising strategies that focus on primarily on male consumers and sports. You might be surprised because usually people think the women are craving for sweets, but when they decide to get sweets, they get the king size because they generally consume more on food products than women. So Reese's did quite a good job with some very, very strong and heavily brand communication advertising that is currently in the marketplace. So I have given you an examples also as well. So click on those link and then take a look at this is a great reminder advertising that Reese's is doing. It always has on the orange background and has the product around the center and usually no people on it. So it just talk about the great product and then what they have recently made with the something more chocolate or something more crunch. So they just want to make sure that they are the top of mind with the every time whenever this consumer crave for candy. So when you go to the store, so you can just grab the Reese's without thinking other products. So I also supply you with another advertisement case, which is Office Depot, that talks about the remember the coworkers at Christmas. So reminding you that you want to make sure that to purchase those occasions. So this reminder promotion is particularly important for cash cows, products that are the mature stage in the life cycle that have a good market share out there. So you want to make sure that you maintain the share by letting people know and then reminding them that wonderful benefits that you give them and also wonderful experience that they have had in the past with your product to keep the brand continuing with their successful service. So this is the example. I recommend you to watch it. And next, persuasive promotion. These are the things that we want to basically convince people's attitude that they believe. So we want to encourage people to switch to our brand. So the persuasive promotions are usually a little bit more emotional, and this frequently used for the growth stage for the product cycle. So we utilize the persuasive promotion with the format of testimonials, reviews. So they are very persuasive today. So I've got the several examples here. The map shows that Verizon has the better coverage than AT&T. So here, Verizon visually demonstrate to persuade you and then provide proof. So I also supply you with the TV commercial of the Samsung in the next slide. And also here, so usually Apple's customers is pretty loyal. So Samsung has been created the brilliant created ads with the persuading promotion and then compare themselves to the Apple and then highlight their competitive advantage to convince the Apple customers to switch Galaxy. So those series are pretty smart and hilarious, and some of them are very famous, so I recommend you to watch it. So when you want to change people's attitude, when you want to make them to feel differently from about their product and utilize just much more laser type of micro marketing format as you start understanding what different segments of your market and product. So now Samsung released kind of flippable cell phone, but still iPhone does not. So this is the selling points what they make, and then make the comparison with the Apple. Think different is the slogan of the Apple. Well, what they promote here is not think different, think bigger, which is kind of flippable phone of theirs. This is also very hilarious ad for the Z Flip by Samsung. Watch this video and then learn about what is the persuasive promotion. Next, connect promotion. Last but not least, it can connect people to our product or brand. So I'm giving you a small example of the Sephora, which is the Beauty Insider program, which is a great loyalty program of that company. Sephora is a large global cosmetic retail chain owned by the Louis Vuitton. So that's the one particular brand, and they have the exceptional job with the demonstrating through a lot of different videos and connecting videos to demonstrate how to use their product and get people part of this program. Also, we have talked about Dove Real Beauty in the previous class with the Dove sketch related to self concept. They have done a remarkable job to connect their consumer about real beauty. This time they have another amazing campaign named No Digital Distortion. This also helped to build self-confidence in women and then young children. I recommend you to watch these examples. So the brands try to connect with people. Sometimes we want them to just like download our app and we want them to join our loyalty program and then be encouraged to transparent information exchange. So as we see this customer relationship management, connect promotions are becoming more and more prevalent. And this is the examples about the Sephora. Please watch this video. Now let's talk about advertising. Paid controlled communication from identified sponsor or organization or retailer. Keep in mind that when you think about advertising as you create a message of the control. So this is not something that you just co-create generally with the consumers or users. This created by the manufacturer or sponsor. So once you create the message, you push it through to channel, like kind of magazine ad, billboard, or a sponsor posted on Facebook or Instagram. So you pay to the media channel to put them and also post them your message. So when you look at the advertising, even you think about this kind of your media strategy, what channels am I going to use, where I'm going to put on my post, and whether I'm going to use the Facebook or billboard. So if you're looking at all those like digital space, like kind of YouTube or BuzzFeed, you've got to use your media device. And then you also need to pick what your creative is going to be and what's your message like. So you have two important strategies to be successful in the advertising campaign. So although the people say, oh my gosh, that you don't need to do so much in the promotion these days, but the expenses on advertising is continuing to rise. So it is pretty good growth in a fairly flat economy, and globally spend 672 billion on advertising. So the major change that we see in advertising the last 20 years is that the paid channels that we put the message through are just changing. So we don't utilize newspaper much these days, but we use digital space, and then because there's so much content being created, right now entertainment content, we are utilizing the product placement to a great deal as well. So as more and more content is created, we certainly see more product placement in Netflix, Hulu, or Disney Plus. So we can see the particular person and show just drinking Pepsi or using Apple computer, and then many times it's a product placement deals. Of course, we are seeing the more and more digital advertising, and those digital marketing overtaken the TV as a primary advertising medium in the world today. Now let's talk about institutional advertising versus product advertising. The examples I gave you here is about the Apple ads. So both are the Apple ads, but institutional advertising is promote your institution's image. They are not talking about the specific products. So this example is the Apple ad. A few years ago, diversity was the huge keyword. Still, diversity is important, but there are certain years it was much more the hot topic. So that time, Apple has an institutional advertisement that Apple embraced the faiths, disabilities, races, ages, ideologies, personalities, and differences. The second ad is about talking about iPhone 14, the new feature of the iPhone, which is about the privacy protection of the app and mail. So a benefit of the iPhone and just kind of certain feature of the product. And this video is also particularly hilarious, so I recommend you to watch. I hope you enjoyed these ads to figure out what is the difference between two ads. So I told you that television is not the second advertising medium. So I told you that television is now the second advertising medium. So they have the definitely growth and they just continue to see some levels of growth. But digital spending as far house is predicted far outstrip television. So it actually crossed over at about the 2017 or 2018 when we see the worldwide digital spreading really outstrip television. So we spend all our time on our phones or computers. So obviously advertisers want to be in a digital space because they want to connect with us, and then there's a less advertising inventory available if you're not doing this. So let's talk about a little bit more about advertising. Remember, we need to media strategy or delivery strategy. So how we can get the message out there, and also creative strategy. So due to the fact that we have so many different providers of the advertising space that we can buy from, so this dispersion of the massive amount of media opportunities make hard for people who sell mass appeal products. For example, like Coke used to be go to the main networks and then place a lot of television ads, then do a pretty good job creating the brand and the products. And then they just do a little bit trade promotion, pushing the product into the supply chain. Then just pull that with the TV by telling a great emotional stories about Coke. But it's more challenging about them. Now they have to make sure that they're omnipresent everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, BuzzFeed, and also all of these different places where different users might be. So it's more challenging now for the mass marketers, the fact that we have a huge amount of the media proliferation and a large amount of dispersion channels. So it is easier to if you're selling something very specific like butter churn, this kind of antique butter churn. So you can find this in the antique collector website. And then you can connect with these people from all different digital channels in the world, and you can find those folks easily. So it has been a great for niche products. So it's more challenging for mass appeal products like Coke. Also, it is important that you need to make sure that you hit people the right message at the right time. So that definitely brings you to the light of the idea of the customer journey. So where are we at to give people the right message as they are closer to purchase, or when they just closer to purchase, we may want to give them the incentive as the sales promotion to tie the sale. And then we may want to utilize our personal salesperson to make sure that we close the deal. Another case, if people don't know about us and then don't have any awareness or desire about our product, only AIDA model would work for the mass marketing at the point of that time. So your media strategies has to really be relevant to the target audience and to the place that they have to purchase. So I have utilized the Michelin image a couple of times here because the Michelin, they has to be like an epitome of the emotional advertising. This is putting a baby inside the tire. So basically you're saying that if you care about your babies or your kids, you are just got a good tires because there's so much writing on them. So you need to provide the benefits and solutions in the creative strategies that you need to understand that they cannot just talk about attributes, but should tell what are you going to do for us. So Michelin's basically say, if you buy our tires, you're going to be safe, your family going to be safe, and then you're a safe driver. Also, advertisers use different appeals to portray their products or services and persuade the consumers to purchase them through advertising and to combine types of appeals into two categories, which is the information and emotional. In the next slide, I put some of the detailed explanation of each of them, so please take a look at them carefully. And once you read about those definitions, think about which appeal that the brand used here for this each advertisement. Especially, I recommend you to watch this Burger King Whopper Detour campaign. This is the famous marketing campaign, just combining with the digital as well. So please take a look at it. And if you're interested in a job in the marketing or digital marketing or those companies, this can be a very good case to know. And here's the answer. And let's talk about a little bit more about the creative content. It's really important when you're talking about the products. So you don't talk about the attributes, but benefits. So what you can do for me. So you want to let people know what's really important, emotional, tangible, and salient benefits that they're going to get from buying your product. So you should sell the sizzle, not the steak. So sell the benefits, not attributes. So the benefits should tell people what's in it for me. Like the Michelin tire, what's in it for me? Is my family's gonna be safe and I'm gonna be safe. So the safety is important. You should be able to answer the question. So basically, if Michelin tires say, oh, we have a deep thread with the 4 steel belts, that doesn't mean anything to me. So I don't want to know what the deep thread for steel means. I want to know, and I might ask them, so then they can say, oh, my family, and then I will be safe with this deep thread for steel belts. So that's the benefits. Don't sell the attributes. And this is the also famous marketing campaign. Burger King start to change their marketing slogan from items starting at 1, which is the attribute, to now you can pay rent and eat, which is their economic price benefits. So the attribute is just component about the product, describes about the features, just kind of the facts. So these are the attributes. But the benefit is the feature that the most important to the customers. So it is have some kind of deliver your imaginary effects, can drive your satisfaction or happiness. So this kind of the attributes can be interpreted in this way as the benefits. And this is another example. Samsung is selling their earbuds in the online website, but wireless or graphite and noise canceling, and then charging case. So these are the all product attributes. On the PDP for those earbuds, they actually separate the attributes from the benefits. So Samsung has a separate benefits section, and then when you click it here on the right side, you're directly to go to the product description that highlights how consumers can listen to the music they love while they're walking, working, and working out. And also this ad shows the benefits. So this gives you an idea how you take some of those basic attributes, benefits, and then translate in the powerful communication that connects with the consumers. If you're on an advertising agency, we always have to figure out our client, what are we trying to do with the communication. So you will work with the creative brief, a short document that sums up the marketing, advertising, or design project, mission, goals, challenges, demographics, messagings, and then also other creative details. It's often created by the consultant or the creative project manager. The goal of this brief is to achieve the stakeholder alignment on the project before it begins. So before we do any communication for the organization or brand, we need to figure out what do they want to do with this communication? What do they want this promotional to do for them? Do we want to be informed, or are we just at the point just wanna need awareness in the AIDA model? We just wanna persuade to tell people that we are different from other players, or just remind them, or we just wanna create some type of the emotional appeal with our brand. So the first question we should ask is, what do you want this communication to do? Inform, relationship, persuade, remind. So understand what you want to do and then create the communication. Then what's the brand personality or positioning of our brand? So what are they known for and what do they like? So we talked about earlier about the Energizer Bunny. It's very active brand positioning and then pretty assertive, aggressive, and powerful. So understand what the brand positioning is about. Then who's your target market? Who are we trying to reach out the communication? And what's the benefits do we want to provide the target in this particular piece of communication? So what's our selling proposition here? Are we advertising that we have a sale? Are we advertising about the particular benefits? So what's the benefits that we are going to do communicating about in this piece of communication? And then what's your big idea? What's your appeal? Is it fear? Are you going to use ego? Or are you just promoting the convenience or saving money? That's about appeal. And then we should explain why should the target believe this brand promise that what you're making. And the next executional consideration. For example, if you are doing target ad, you're gonna have a lot of red in here. For example, if you do the target ad, the grocery store, you will see that a lot of the red color and then a lot of circle shapes. So I can always tell my target advertisement because they have a kind of few reds on the screens and then pass through by even before they reveal the logo. What are some considerations like they are important to the brand and also what kind of the piece of communication to be successful. So you pull out those creative brief for your particular product. So you should fill out this creative brief and make sure that you are doing a great job of the conveying those educational inspiration. So these are the examples about creative briefs. I recommend you to just look at it as an example. And these days, there's a lot of channels and there are two main advertising media placement options. First one is the traditional non-digital channels. Today, we have a lot of more digital in addition to non-traditional channels. People are more likely to accept advertising anywhere and every time. So if you can make money by buying from the advertising placement, we see more and more places that they're taking advertising. So one of our biggest areas of the digital advertising is simple search advertising, Google AdWords. So you can learn more in the digital marketing class, and also the banner ads, retargeting. So retargeting is the stuff that follows you around, and after you look for something on the website, then they're just going back and then trying to make people buy, and then just come back to your website based on what your digital activity based on your recent digital activity history. So that involves them understanding your habits, your practices, and then where you've been for. And email sponsorship and naming rights and utilizing events for athletes. There's a lot of the new non-traditional areas that where we see the replacing the traditional advertising today. So you've got a lot of different places or channels to put it. So you need to make sure that your creatives make specific and works well for those different platforms. So you may need to create totally different creative. Then that can still have the same messaging and they still have the same goal. But the creative for the billboards look different from the story in the BuzzFeed. Because creatives for billboards might look different from a story in the BuzzFeed. So you should maintain the same idea across. So media selection criteria. How do you select and then what format should I use and which one I should use? The most important thing is understanding target audience, the size of the target audience, and then where they are. So you want to reach a whole bunch of them. To success for advertising, companies should use the measure of the frequency and reach to gauge consumers' exposure to marketing communications. Keep in mind that you will not use just one media. You always have an integrated marketing communication approach. We might be using some network and television. You might use Hulu ads and then do some of the Instagram stories or Facebook posts. So combine all of those when you look at those and say, okay, what percentage of the target did I reach? Reach describes the percentage of the target population exposed to a specific marketing communication, such as advertisement. So the goal is to reach the 70 to 90% of that if you possibly can with the schedule of the advertising that you put together. When you look at the frequency, for most products and situations, a single exposure to communication is barely enough to generate the desired response, for example, purchase or signing up the membership. Therefore, marketers measure the frequency of exposure. How many times are they going to see advertisement in 4 weeks period? Sometimes you may think that you have seen the same ads so many times and then you might feel more bored. But effective frequency is the 3 to 7 times. So you wanna your message out there and that is the signal that your message is effective. So that you gotta penetrate people's perceptual screens and then you wanna live there as their long-term memory. So when people go to the store and they see on the shelf, they just grab your product without thinking other brands. So the effective frequency can be 3 to 7 times. So keep in mind that if you start to get tired of it, it's probably start to get effective. So that is the important part of the media selection criteria. Other things that you can look at is what's the cost efficiency? How much am I paying for every 1,000 people I reach? If it's digital, you want people to click through your website. How much am I paying per week? So digital advertising is open price and either impression, how many appearances that you had, and also it can be called as cost per contact. And then the other method is the cost per click. So how much you have to pay per click. So then you take a look at the media flexibility. Are we easy to work with? Can I just time in the different times? So for example, if you have a water sensitive product and then work with the weather station, that is fabulous. So Campbell Soup had a deal with the weather station. They are only ran their ads and then put their ads on their site and banner ads on the weather station website when the temperature is below 15 degrees. If the temperature is too high, consumers are not very much motivated to have soup and they do not crave for soup. So you want some levels of the flexibility so you can do a better job in targeting. Another factor when you select the media channel you need to go through is how much noise is out there. So how much interference out there? So whether people actually see my ads. Oftentimes, there are many display ads all over the place, and when I just look at the websites, but sometimes I do not notice it because it's just too many. So you got the have some the ad workers, so things like that nature. In addition, metrics and measurements. Many of the media that we choose from out there have the audited by the independent audit bureaus so that we can determine whether they are performing at the level that we want them to perform. Another important decision is the media planner is advertising schedule. So with the specific timing and duration of the advertising. So there are 3 types of schedule. Normally, if you're a new product, you want to be upfront a little bit. Normally, you got a lot of first and then just want to be remind people, and then you can remind them people by parsing or flighting. Again, just kind of on again and off again so that you can save some money for the reminder promotion. And if you want people get to come to your event, for example, sale, then you might start low level of advertising. As you get close to the date, then you build toward the sale. So the media scheduling is the critical when you're trying to get the results with a particular promotional activity or effort. Now let's talk about the product placement and sponsorship. This particular area is the type of advertising, paid promotion through the channel that is growing leaps and bounds. As we're watching more and more content, they really don't want to be interrupted by the content by advertising. You see many of advertising is very aggressive with the product placement. So I'm giving you some the couple of examples here, a scene from the Moneyball, from the Gatorade dispenser. That's the tons of the product placement out there in Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. So oftentimes when you see the products being used and pulling up a car in a lot in a certain retail store, they're paying for that space. So now we have 12 to 14 different agencies in Los Angeles and New York that just work for barter and then create these product placement deals. And Coke and Pepsi work hard for the product placement in the movies or TV shows to make the good guys drink their brands and then bad guys drink other brands. So the product placement is live and well. And also I share a very interesting case. Director Rian Johnson revealed that Apple doesn't let the villains use the iPhone on screen. So this is very interesting articles. I recommend you to read through it. And then also this video explains about the future of product placement. So please watch this video and then learn about the kind of prospects about product placement. And now let's talk about sports sponsorship. It's another huge growing area. Sports has a great value for advertising and promotion. It associates with your winners, local winners. People like to associate with winners. So especially great for your hometown team. And it's also a great way to get male audience. Generally, men consumes more sports than women. And another way along with the kind of the sponsorship and placement is naming rights. There are many different stadiums, auditorium named by somebody. So those things are changed about every 10 years. It's an important part of the promotional mix for the sports books. It's also give your brand certain level of prestige. So far, we have talked about the important tools about IMC, advertising, and product placement. In the next class, we will talk about rest of it. Thank you much for watching.